Hi, Cohort E.
Hello.
It's Alina and Erin, and we are so excited to be doing this. We've decided that we're going to tape our talk as we collaborate on planning a mini lesson, which you too will be asked to do very soon if you haven't already been asked.
Yeah, they've started.
So what we've thought might be helpful to you is to watch us and to listen as we model some exceptional collaboration methods, because we're really good collaborators. And I think Erin and I were talking the other day that there's some pretty big differences between working together and collaborating, and that true collaboration comes down to asking questions, listening to each other,
Talking it through,
sharing ideas in a way that's not just partitioning work or saying, okay, you do this part, I'll do that part. And so what we'd like to do is invite you into our heads.
Come on.
As we collaborate. Are you ready?
Oh,
Get your popcorn. Hi. So, Erin, I'm not sure where or what to begin with, but I'm just going to kind of tell you an idea I had.
Go for it.
So last Monday, during reading methods, we were introduced by Jim to this concept of thinking about characterization and character. And so Jim introduced us to the idea of how authors talk about character in their writing, and he challenged us to think about character in our own reading, like while we read. So maybe I'm kind of thinking the girls need to see something more about character, because I know that when I teach, I don't just do like character one day and then leave it at that, right? We've talked about that before.
Yeah, I think it'd be important to build off your previous lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what, I was also, there's so many ideas going through my head, so let me just talk about this. The other thing I was thinking about was margin notes, keeping track of your thoughts while you read.
Yeah.
Because when we're as students, we can write our notes in the margins, but if you're reading a picture book or if the book's not yours, how can you keep track of that? So maybe putting them on Post-its and putting them in the book as you read.
Right. Okay, great. I love that. So, okay, great. I love that, and I agree. So what if we combine, what if we build off of what we started with last week? And so since we're going to be digging deeper, then we could say, let's look at what the author is doing more specifically with character and characterization, and use Post-it notes to take note of what we're noticing
throughout the story.
author doing.
So I guess now we have to think even more. So last week was just kind of a summary of character. I guess we have to think as readers, what are things that authors do that reveals that character?
Right.
Other than, because there's times when I read and I think, oh, this character feels this way. Right. Or maybe this character I think is being really stubborn here. But the author doesn't always write that. There's different things that we assume.
That the author
that we get that. So maybe if we can figure out and give them some specific examples of not just what the character does in the story that helps us understand what we know about the character. Maybe looking at
what the character says.
Oh yeah, dialogue.
Okay,
so specifically what they say as evidence of what we know about the character. Picture books have a lot of illustrations.
Yeah.
So maybe we can look at how the character is
physically
appearing, or maybe if you look at their facial expression, maybe that can help you.
I love it. Okay, so I think what we've got here is a really good idea. So let's work on making that connection explicit to the girls. And let's take the next step and say, okay, we don't want to waste their time. We don't want to waste your time. So we want to think about how can we, in under 10 minutes, right? Because our goal is a mini lesson.
Be concise.
How can we explicitly say, hi, ladies, here's our teaching point. Today, in Reader's Workshop, we're going to focus on,
revealing characters.
Revealing characters. Okay.
I think using that language is helpful. If you're thinking about what you're actually going to say, and if you write it out to yourself, even like a little script, that will make it more clear.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Oh, we're on. Okay. Hi. So we the computer ran out of batteries, and so now we're indoors.
Relocation.
We're at Book People. It's awesome here, but it's kind of noisy, so hopefully you can hear us. And we don't seem too creepy. Okay, so on with this. We would like to focus on a teaching point.
Yes.
And so as we're thinking through it, we're going to just keep talking out loud. Right. And collaborating.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Very closely. And intimately.
It's much more intimate now. So we were thinking about, you had some ideas that you wanted to share that you missed from the
about character, yeah. So there's digging deeper into character. So I was thinking, as we're talking about comments and dialogue and appearance, there's all those things, but it's hard to keep track of all that. I mean, if you just tell me that, how are they going to remember all that when they go to practice it?
Right.
So I found this little diagram, and I thought that
it says how is character revealed.
Yeah, and it's a
words, actions, appearance, author's comments, motive, and other characters' comments.
Right. So I thought that would be a good starting place. But this is overwhelming.
It's kind of complicated.
Isn't it? Look how many there are. And in one day they have to practice all those and remember those.
It's too much.
So I'm thinking maybe we take half.
Yeah.
Maybe we just focus on a couple.
Okay.
Because remember, a mini lesson's brief. And you want it to be something that they can take away and practice with. And having more than 2 or 3 things would be too much.
Okay.
Too much.
I like it. So how about what if we have 2 teaching points? Something just brief.
Right.
Maybe 3. Maybe 2 or 3. Let's talk. Okay, here's an idea I had just off the top of my head. Is that authors use, and to be explicit and say, okay, so today we're going to have a lesson about how authors use explanation, that is, words that are descriptive or adjectives to describe their characters, right? Sometimes, so in other words, sometimes authors are very explicit about the things that they
want you to know about
the character. Exactly. So that would be one thing.
Yeah.
Another thing might be
what they say.
Dialogue. Dialogue is another way.
So they may not specifically say what they are, but you start thinking in your mind what they sound like, or even what they appear to be. Based on that.
And if we're working with younger kids, we were thinking about illustrations, that illustrations would be a really good thing to focus on.
Yeah, because usually the illustrators will put clues out there.
Right.
To give you some context.
Yeah, but since we just want to keep it simple, and since we're thinking we might even do character at some other point, let's just keep it simple, maybe.
Okay. So far, let me just review. So far we have what the author writes.
Right.
So they're writing about the character, and then what the character says.
Right.
So dialogue. So that's 2. Now, what about what the character does? What do we think about that? Could that be our 3rd? Do you think that'd be too much? Or
no, I think it's good, but maybe, do you think it might be good to, since it's our first mini lesson, do you think it might be good to kind of just start small and focus on, you know what I mean? Just like less is more kind of thing?
Well, and it might be important to say, we're just focusing on these 2, and then we're going to build this web and kind of expand it. So that way it could be something, because if you start big with everything on it, they may get lost, and they may not be able to focus on
and they might be like,
ooh,
mini lesson sucks, that was totally ineffective, right? And so, because the thing is that you can do many mini lessons. You can do multiple mini lessons and have a whole series on ways that authors communicate character.
You need multiple opportunities and multiple readings to really practice
that
skill that you're looking at. Okay, so we're talking about looking at the dialogue of the character and what the author writes about the character.
Explanation.
Okay, good. All right.
Good.
Now